Chris, hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. Funny, prior to hitting record, I said, I feel like I won the lottery today.
Yeah.
Because, like, this week, I think it's been like I've seen you get your amazing award,
Thank
which we're going to talk
thank you.
about.
Thank you.
And we've chitty chatted. And so here we are today. And we were both going,
Yeah.
like allergy season. Is anybody else feeling that? Like crazy nonsense. Did you wake up with it or what?
It's crazy. You know what? It's so funny. I never had allergies. Like my whole life, I never had allergies. My mom has like the worst allergies in the universe my whole life. And I was like, well, I didn't get them. It's great. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, like a couple, probably when I had my daughter, I became a different person
Oh,
altogether. Like, so I bet you it's that. But like, I had my daughter, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm allergic to the world. Like, now it's just, and it's random. I'm fine. And then all of a sudden, I'm not. It's like, itchy eyes, watering eyes. I can't wear certain makeups. I can't wear like I had to start changing all my makeup that I'd been wearing for years. And I was like, well, I can't wear that anymore because I want
I
to itch
know.
my eyes off. Like,
Well, it's funny that you say that because today my younger son Mateo was like, I'm dying and I'm trying to put an eyelash on, and my eye is screaming, "Get that thing away from me!"
yeah,
I'm like, your eyes are itchy. Try to put on makeup and
yeah,
eyelashes. He's like, oh, thank God I'm not a girl.
yeah.
Right? But yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. When I had my last son, I got chicken pox. This is where I threw all my back issues start. We're going to
Yeah.
blame it all on our kids. Like they blame it on us, we're blaming them,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
All my
Exactly.
back stuff, I had like three lower herniated discs, two in my, like it was a shit storm. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Were you the same?
Yeah, I mean, with so I always blamed it on the fact that my daughter was a daughter. You know the old wives' tale, like
Yeah.
that if it's a girl, they take everything from you. And like I don't know, but I'm just saying is that I had boys before that, and it
And
was
you were
fairly
fine.
painless. My daughter, on the other hand, I came out with like allergies and diabetes and like it just yeah, I came out with everything. My skin was all changed. My like it was yeah, it was everything. She
Crazy
took everything.
bugger nonsense. Well, that is a true tale. Like I hear a lot of people that do say that.
Yeah,
And look what you got. I mean, when
yeah,
I
worth
see
it,
you,
worth it,
yeah, when I see you
worth
post about your daughter, I'm like, it was all worth it. Who cares if
worth
you
it.
if your
I
heart
got it.
other
It's so
people?
funny. I just had this conversation with her because the other day, we were just chatting. We're getting ready in the morning, and I'm changing my shirt, and she says, "Mom, how come you have stripes on your tummy?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm like, those are called stretch marks." I was like, "So that when you were living inside, it had to stretch real, real big to fit you,
Oh,
and it left those marks." And she was like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Oh, you don't have to be sorry. It was worth it." I was like, "Now I have
oh,
decorations. It's fine."
that what a
Yeah.
beautiful soul.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
You're like these, I know, same. I'm like, these are like
Yeah.
animal print, but skin color, right?
Yeah.
On the
Yeah.
sides. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, and the things we do for having children, right? Women,
Yep.
women. So one of our favorite topics, women, the power of showing up. You and I
Mm.
talk about this friends wise, professionally, on
Yeah.
stages.
Yeah.
There is such a camaraderie that you have, I have, the Unbreakable community, your Scotiabank community, personally, professionally. I sort of look back and maybe you can share a story as well. When I didn't have, or I didn't feel like I
Mm.
had that camaraderie, always had like a couple of really good,
Yep.
like girl pack girls, but wow, what a difference. And I want you to talk about the award. I was blessed to have been invited by you to celebrate you, to champion you,
Thank
to
you.
clap and cheer you on and scream like crazy the fact that you won.
Thank
What
you.
an amazing, incredible, and I could take 45 minutes, but your head might not fit in the screen afterwards, right? But what an honor for you to get this recognition. I mean, aside from the fact I knew quite a few of the women in the past, but quite a few women that were on stage with you.
Yeah.
You know, I love you to pieces. I think you're a rock star. But to be recognized in
Mm.
that sort of setting, what was that like for you? Because that is
It was
huge.
it was crazy. Everything about it was crazy. Everything about it was crazy. It was probably the first time in a really long time that I suffered from extraordinary imposter syndrome. Like I was sitting there as they, and they did, I've got to say that the Women of Influence team did this incredible job at one, making everyone in that building feel special that day. Like not just the award winners, but talk about like VIP treatment. Like wasn't it just like everyone felt
Everything
valued
was
and
great.
cheered on, and it was great. It was beautiful. They did a great job.
Sure
But
did.
as they did these montages for each of the award recipients, and you're listening to what these women have done, accomplished, what they continue to do, where they're from, what they've designed, developed, whatever it is. And I was sitting there being like, and me? Me
Oh,
too? Like,
yeah,
and
you're
you know
like,
what's crazy about that is like I was sitting there thinking that, and then they called all of us up on the stage, all 25 of us, and we were all standing together. They wanted to get a picture. And as I'm standing beside these doctors and CEOs and like just
philanthropist. Yeah.
amazing women, one of the women in front of me turned around and said, anybody else having severe imposter syndrome? And the six of us that were kind of right beside each other all went, yes. And all of us were feeling it. Like I thought it was just me, but all of us were sitting there being like, I can't believe that I'm here with these women. And
Mm.
it was so crazy to me that all of us were thinking the same thing.
I love that. And, let's unpack that for a minute because when people see you on stage, and, I know you on a personal, but when I talk about rock star confidence, you're the epitome of rock star confidence. Rock star confidence, everybody's like, oh, because you worked with, the Stones and this. And I'm like, that's sort of where it was born. But no, rock star confidence is the belief you have within yourself. And look,
Yeah.
we all doubt ourselves at some point, even rock stars, right? Even
Yeah, absolutely. And it
and
wasn't, I gotta say, it wasn't even that I doubt what I do. I love what I do. I
yeah,
love what I do. And I believe in what I do. And I believe in the community that it gets to be part of and that I work with. And when I promote and encourage and support all of these women around me, I know I'm doing the right thing. I know that I'm doing it well. Like it's not, it wasn't even that kind of doubt. It was that, but it's not as important as what this woman does, or it's not as important as what this woman does. And to me that was, I thought, well, it just must be me that thinks that way. And so to feel like these women, like who are CEOs of companies and founders and executive directors, or making like doing medical research, and like, and they're also thinking like, yes, I do great things, but it's
exactly. And
not as
that was
great.
my point. So I'm saying we all suffer from it. I'm not saying like that was your case because I wanted to sort of unpack something with you.
Yeah.
But on stage, you were feeling this way. And when I
Yep.
say about we feel like maybe I'm saying rock stars, like as I said, people who don't know us, everybody's like, you're so confident. Like, how do you, and I'm like, look, there's times like I have bad days,
Yeah.
I have bad
Yeah.
moments, I have
Yeah.
imposter syndrome thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think everybody, if men and women and
Yeah.
regardless of gender, we're thinking it. I feel like everybody does feel that
Yeah.
way at some point.
Yeah.
But what I was wanting to get to is knowing you, knowing what you do, and knowing you on a personal, and what a heart you have. The sort of premise of the whole reason I Am Unbreakable was born is that there are these incredible women like the
Yeah.
25
Yeah.
standing on
Yeah.
stage with WOI, and nobody is like, you're too busy lifting, elevating, amplifying everybody else. And so are they. And whether they
Yeah.
do it through medical research
Yeah.
or they
Yeah.
do it through behavioral science, it really is. I'm not going to say irrelevant, but it's irrelevant because they all feel like, well, I'm doing this because I love to. I'm doing it because of the passion. And for you and just the six others, I bet you if we talk to all of them,
Yeah.
they might have felt the same, or a mass majority might have felt the same. Like, but I look at it as like maybe you're saying, wow, what an honor. I
Mhm.
know 30 other people that would,
Yes.
more deserve something like that. And that is just who you are. I feel like it's not a confidence thing as much as it is like, well, I'm comfortable in the space of elevating others. So when we elevate you, you're kind of like, oh, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone kind of thing. So I
Yeah.
think that might have been a little bit it for you. What do you think?
Absolutely. No, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. It was, I just didn't know what to do with it, to be honest. Like you said, I'm usually the one that's like,
Woohoo.
check out this person. It's funny, how many times did you say to me while we're at this celebration, and I'd say, hey, we should meet this person, talk to do this. I want to introduce you. And you'd be like, this is about you. And you kept, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop working.
trying to redirect you. No, this is about you. But it's true because I feel like people like yourself, and I'm speaking from my own experience as well, is like we are so about others. And I guess I think like internally, you want to be of service to others. So you're not,
Yeah.
we're great givers. We got to work on the receiving. Would
Yeah.
that be a
Yeah.
fair statement?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And celebrate, girl, because you know what? I can't even tell you people like I know what with Sherry when she found out because she was coming to the event. She messaged myself and Deborah and said, "Oh my God, did you see Chris?" You know, I you don't know Sherry that well,
No.
but that is a woman as well as Deborah that knows you through me. You guys work
Yeah.
together with the summit and some other things, and they were like, "Oh my God, we've got to lift her. Let's go there
Yeah.
and cheer her on and clap her on."
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? Because
It is. It's amazing.
there's such power in that. And we've all experienced jealousy of other people that maybe aren't so happy for us for whatever their reasons
Yeah.
are. Whether it's jealousy, whether it's envy, whether it's they don't know that it's okay to celebrate and champion other women. Like,
Yeah.
I was so excited that I got to be part of your day, as was like a lot of the other people that you had at your table. They were just blessed to be there to champion you
Yeah.
on, which means you're celebrating and surrounding yourself with the right front row sisters. So
Yes.
for
Yes.
those who don't have and are not fortunate enough like us to have those front row sisters, what are kind of like some key things we touched on this a little bit last segment, but what are the key things you look for? Because you and I are
Mm.
pretty fast. I learned my 15-minute coffee date with you, right? Because I was giving
Yeah.
people like 30 to 60 minutes. Your
Yeah.
15-minute coffee date, what, like, talk to me. Tell me what that
Yeah.
looks like. What's your strategy?
So here's the thing, and I want to start like slightly off course, but it's
Yeah,
important.
of course.
And maybe it's backwards, but here's how it needs to end when you found the right people, okay? Because this was another thing that hit me this week with all of this going on. Sometimes we get stuck in our head of, and I'll use my example of, well, that person didn't show up. Like, I invited that person to come and that person didn't come. Don't Then they're not the right person. Like you just said, then they're not your front row. They're not your that then they're not it. Then that's okay. Just focus on the individuals who did and the individuals who were there. No questions asked. Absolutely. I'm here for you. I'm here to cheerlead you. I'm here to support you. I'm here because I believe in you. Like, focus on that.
Mm.
So that's how it should look like in the end. And I think the
And
easy way up front to find that out, and you can, like I've talked to you before, you can find that out in the first 15 minutes with someone, if this is someone that's going to be the person there for you. And for me, one of the things I look for, one, genuine interest. You can tell when you're talking to someone about whatever, whether you're talking about, I'm a mom, this is what happened today, or here's my business and here's what it's all about, or here's a project I'm passionate about, whatever it is. there are the individuals who you're talking to that are just waiting to say the next thing or book the next call, or like there's those, and you can feel that. You can feel
There's
that right away.
there's no authenticity. I call it like
No.
that's one of my pillars, right?
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
authenticity. And I think that's what
Yeah.
you're saying too,
And
right?
that's just it. You can feel that genuine curiosity, interest. I'm interested in what you're saying. I'm passionate about what you're saying. I want to know more. I want to learn more. I want to talk to you more about it. That's important to me because that tells me that we're going to be on the same wavelength when it comes to values, when it comes to passions, when it comes to, because we've got similar interests and similar, we don't have to like the same things,
No.
but we have to have the same, you and I were crazy ambitious.
Yeah.
That's who we are.
Yep.
And no one has to be exactly like us. But if you're the individual who's like, I don't want an extra project, or I don't,
I
no,
do
I don't,
15
I don't,
hours a week. I'm good.
yeah, I only want to do part-time. Like, and that's cool. That's who you are. But I know that that's not going to align with me and
Mm,
how I do life.
yeah.
That's not going to be my front row person. They're going to think I'm insane. Right?
I
Like,
know. Well, I'm sure your husband's the same. When I finally got Matt off the road for the PI agency, and he'd ride with me and I'd be doing things. He's like, I'm exhausted. I'm like, you
yeah,
have done nothing. He's like, just listening and watching. I'm tired. I can't even, right? And that's cool. Like you need, the yin and the yang, and
yes,
that's
yes.
I
As
think
as
important
much as
in
I say I need other ambitious, like you and I are driven, and that's why we have, 50-mile-a-minute conversations, and I love it. But our husbands are similar, and they are our like, okay, take her down a notch. Take her, just bring her down, just take a breather, and that's important too. So it all has
100
its place. Yeah.
100%. But it's funny that you say because I'm still laughing because I could just picture, your husband with and you're,
Yeah.
honey, are we boring? You're many things, Chris, but boring ain't one of them. And I'm like,
Boring ain't one of them.
oh, I just love that guy. That was hilarious. And so, just sort of going back for a second to the
Yeah.
event. I love the fact that you were actually listening because you didn't appear to be listening because you're like, and I got it, and this person I got to go, congratulate them, and I got to connect. And I kept saying, Chris, it's about you, and you're like, uh-huh. And I knew you
Yeah.
were like in your, but that is who you are, and I love that. But if it wasn't me, and I know Heather too. She's one of those salt of
Yeah.
the earth, ride and
Yeah.
dies. She was the same. Yeah, Chris, it is about you. Stop it. Right? And sometimes you need that reminder to stop it. Just
Yeah.
stop and just enjoy the moment. And then you were able to obviously enjoy the moment. But then I think you were looking around going, me too. And I think it is so big. I hope you know that.
Yeah. No, it is. It's
So big
massive, and
for
it's
you.
such an honor. It
Yeah.
was just awesome. It was just awesome. But I think you, like you saying, slow down, enjoy the moment. That's definitely something that I need to work on. A lot of us need to work on that. And it's funny, you were telling me throughout the day, Heather from Dottie, every time I tell someone, oh, I'm wearing Dottie, and this is Dottie, and this is the designer, she'd be like, would you stop?
Stop.
And she was saying the same thing. And a longtime mentor of mine, and it meant the world to me that he came. He was
Wait,
one
hold
of
on. No, wait.
maybe. I know. And he told me that he was a yes. Like, do you want to come? Yes, I'm there. And he had to travel in, like he's not from Toronto, and he was there. Maybe one of, I don't know, maybe 10 men in the room, but he was there, and he's like that. He's
And
front row
he
for
adores,
sure. He's
and
front
he
row.
adores. Yeah, we can't call him our front row sister. I'm still laughing.
Yeah.
I tried to do this. I go, come on, give Chris one of these. And he was like, and then he ran. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, can I get a picture? He's like, nope, nope.
No way. No way. Out of
But
there.
he so adores you. And okay, I am Unbreakable fans. I'm going to share something Jeff shared with me. Deep, dark secret about Chris. You ready?
Yeah.
She never used to talk. And I'm like, Chris, who?
Yeah.
And he's like, Chris. I'm like a smaller other mentor, Chris. And he's like, no, Chris. And I'm like, What? Right?
Yeah.
And so what was it for you? Because I know, because he sort of told me and I know your story, but for those who are listening, what was it for you that sort of got you out of your shell? Because you were never a shy person with
No.
your pack,
Yeah.
but
I was never shy, personally, but I was always really shy at work when I started. I was really shy at work because I didn't feel it was the place to be myself. And this is nothing against Scotiabank as a bank. Like, it was nothing that nobody did. It
no.
wasn't that. It was just I felt like, okay, at the bank, I have to be different. I can't be me, and I got to be quieter, and I got to just, and I was really young too, right? Like, I'm 17 years in the bank. I was much younger, and
And
it was
now
a
you're
different.
29 and a half.
That's right. Now I'm
I started
29. I'm
at
like,
12. Yeah.
don't check my math. And but I was from a different world. Like, previous to being in the bank, I was a child and youth worker. I was working in group homes. I was working with young offenders, where strength and outspoken, that was valuable.
Yeah.
And now I was trying to navigate what does Chris at the bank look like? Like, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
love that.
And when I started, and 17 years ago in the bank was a long time. A lot of things have changed. The bank has become such a different space in the most positive way possible. But when I started, it was very old school. It was very, everyone wears a gray suit, and everyone, like, it wasn't tattoos, and it wasn't that there wasn't anyone who looked like me. There just wasn't. And I had some managers and leaders that would say, like, you can't show your tattoos, and you can't have your hair weird colors, and you can't do any of that.
And
And
you're
so,
like,
because,
what? I quit.
yeah, well, when
Yeah.
someone says, like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do it, you're like, okay, don't be me. Got it. I
Yeah.
got it. Don't be me. No problem. And so that's how I went. I did my job the best I could, but it was like, here's Chris at work and here's Chris at home. And it's funny, when Jeff was telling this story, one of my other coworkers, who I've worked with for a long time, we're really close, and I tell her all the time, you got to get out there, and you got to talk, and you got to put yourself out there. No one sees how valuable you are. You got to speak up. You've got great things to share. And she kind of looked over at me, and she said, how did you finally start to use your voice? And it's really simple. I found Jeff. Like, everybody needs a Jeff. We said that. Like,
That's
everybody
our
needs a Jeff.
t-shirt. That's
I
a
know everybody needs a Jeff, but what it is that you need to find yourself those mentors, those leaders, or the peers. I've had lots of peers who've done the same for me, that basically say, it's okay to be you. Like, you fit here, you belong here, and it's okay to just be yourself while you're doing a great job. Like that,
chocolate.
it's okay. And so it just took finding some. I've been so lucky. I've had amazing mentors like Jeff. There's been others that were great mentors and great leaders that were like, you can be you. It's all right. Like, your voice is valuable, and you can use it.
I love that, and the story never gets old. And this is another thing. I think, well, Jeff and I talked about it, and then I think Heather and I talked about it. As many times as we talk about the same story, I never get sick of hearing it. It never gets old. To me, it is the epitome of resilience and finding your voice, finding yourself. It's such a magical place. And you and I, this is one of our, maybe going to be another t-shirt. We are not for everybody. And I get that.
No,
And there's people that I love to pieces, and they're very corporate, and they're like, I want to have you speak, but nobody's ever had a speaker like you before. And I said, well, then wouldn't that be fun? And
wouldn't that be great?
they're
Yeah.
like, I'm terrified. And then it's funny because after our summit, we had all the corporates there. Now they're like, oh, we need you and Chris. And I'm like, because it was fun, wasn't it? It wasn't just us talking at you. It was that interactive, fun kind of what. And they're like, I had a blast. It was, 6 hours went by like that. And,
Yeah.
I feel like you don't know what you don't know. And so the fact that you were able to bloom, and I will say this with Scotiabank, personally and professionally. You have never said that they've tried to dim your light. It was
No.
just a
No.
different, it was just a different era.
It was a different time. Everything was
Yeah.
different. Like
And
it,
it
it really
wasn't
was.
them.
And I'll give kudos to Scotiabank that the advancements that they've come when it comes to employee support and employee resources and really priding themselves on a sense of belonging, and like they really have done incredible things. Like from someone who didn't feel like they belonged to someone who now screams Scotia from the top, like they
And
I'm
creates the
yeah,
belonging, and who
yeah,
creates, like you, I'm sorry, and maybe Scoser's not going to be happy with me saying this, but you really are, for a lot of people, the face of Scotiabank Women's Initiative. You just are. It is what it is. You're out there.
yeah,
You help. You cannot do enough for people. And I know they're thrilled to have you. And the reason I bring this up is because it was never about them. It was about the situation, and it
yeah.
was about you. And I
Yes.
feel like if somebody's, in that position today, and you're in corporate or as an entrepreneur or working in retail, and you feel like you touch on something so important, and I love this. If you're like, okay, I get it, I can't be me. If you can't be you, you are in the wrong space
Yeah.
or the wrong time. It might, like, to your point, like Scotia wasn't doing that. That's just the way it was done. So maybe
Yeah.
they weren't advanced enough for you at the
Yeah.
moment, but you grew with them, and they also did the whole innovation and the growth and whatnot. And how beautiful and lucky are they? But I feel like, can you imagine all the people? Because you and I talked to several people that are
Yeah.
in that boat of just, I am so unhappy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, and I will say too that one of the factors we don't talk about enough, and I think individuals should talk about more, and I think I know a lot of people like myself who are in corporate shy away from saying this out loud because they're afraid that it's going to be misinterpreted as negativity towards their corporation. So I want to be really clear that what I'm saying has nothing to do with Scotia as a corporation, but there are just bad leaders sometimes in every
Yeah,
corporation.
yeah.
And so if you're that person who is sitting there thinking, I can't be me, I don't belong here, I want you to take a moment to think, is it the corporation? Because it could be. I mean, that's not the case for me, but it could be. Is it the corporation? Maybe. Maybe that's not where you belong. Is it the time? Like maybe you need to help advance the corporation into whatever belonging there needs to be. Maybe that's your calling. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. And great, then take those next steps, find out what they are and do that. Maybe you have a really bad leader and maybe they're not following through with the values of the corporation you work for.
Yeah.
And maybe it's that one individual, and don't let them have that control over your success, your career, your whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you're there to do. Don't let them have that control. Find yourself another leader, another mentor, another coach, a peer, someone who can help you get past that, because having those difficult leaders will help you build that resilience and will teach you, I'm never going to lead like this.
I was just going to say, it will teach you how you never want to lead.
That's
And
it.
that's one
That's
of
it.
the major things that I always struggled with when I was in corporate, very, very young. I tried it and I'm like, oh, I cannot do that, because exactly. Well, you can't dress like that. You can't, you can't have the tattoos. You can't do this. You can't. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like exactly what you say. So I can't be me. So who should I be? Well, you have to wear a suit, but I don't like suits. Right.
Yeah.
Or you got to wear a skirt
Yeah.
and a blazer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that's not me. So,
Yeah.
it depends if what your stage of life is. And if you're young or if you have a family, by no means am I saying go out and, quit your corporate six-figure job or,
No.
comfy,
Yeah.
cushy, whatever. But what I am saying is I feel like life is so short. I was reminded of a very sad and whatever story yesterday, which I'm not going to share today because for sure my eyelashes will fall off.
Yeah.
I swear to you, between the allergies and the crying last night, if somebody shared a story with me. But I feel like life is so short. And if, I always say hindsight, right? And I
Yeah.
love older people. And when people are sort of passing through on the other side, or they're coming to the, closer to the end of life,
Yeah.
it's never like, oh, I wish I bought that, blingy jacket as opposed to the white one or it's always, I wish I lived my true authentic life, or I
Yeah.
wish I spent more time with the family, or whatever it is. So one of my core messages, and I know yours is too, is live like every moment to the fullest, but live authentically. I know that's a
Yeah.
big thing for you too, right? It's just being
Absolutely.
true
Well,
to
for me, the
you.
importance is, do the things that make you happy. And for me, the only way to be happy is to be you. Like I say this all the time. You are never going to be good at being someone else. Like I can say, "Oh, I want to be Adrianne," but I'm never going to be as good at being Adrianne as Adrianne is. And so I'm always going to be disappointed because I'm never going to be in first place because I'm not Adrianne. So I'm never going to be the number one Adrianne. But you know who I can be the number one at? Chris. I can be the number one Chris because only I can be the best Chris possible. And so if you're constantly trying to be someone else, you're always going to fail because you
I love
can't.
that.
You can't be someone else.
Yeah, and I never get sick of you saying that because it is so true. There's so many times, and I'm going to say this to the youngins too listening,
Mm,
they've got this vision and it's, oh my God, and she's got this many followers and likes and her boat and her car and her yacht and or his or whatever.
yeah.
But yet what you don't see is it's all fake and they're really curled up in their bed in fetal position, and all of that is just a facade. So stop looking outward to who you should be and look inside. And if you can lay your head down at night and say, I'm a good person. I did everything. Like I had a shitty ass day, it was a train wreck, but I did everything that I morally and just internally feel was the right thing. I think that's a win.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you
Yeah.
say?
I think it is. I think you have to go with what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, what brings you joy, what makes you proud of yourself. Like you get to the end of the day and you're like, yeah, I did
Yeah, I
that.
know
That
what's
was
gonna make
me.
you happy. Na,
That
na,
was
na,
me.
na,
Yeah. See,
na, na,
I see
na.
that and I'm like, look, that's me.
I love that. So they just hot off the press came in. Where's my girl?
Woo!
Oh, I'm so proud of you. And hold on, let me find you here. Yeah, and oh, I'm so there's my girl.
See, I love it. Look at that. Look at that.
Okay.
That makes me proud.
You should be proud. And yes, make sure you tell your mom I'm sending her one too, please.
Oh, she'll be
I
thrilled.
was so happy. Like they literally just came in.
That's amazing.
Yes,
They're
I'm
gorgeous.
so thrilled. And sadly, I know we have to go in a few minutes, but one of the things that we did, and the power of your front row sisters, I'm going to try to see about the summit and stuff. Like, look at, there's so many pictures of
Yeah.
you with hundreds and hundreds of people that just, well, some knew you, but a lot were first time Chris
Yep.
experiencers. And I'm
Yep.
going to tell you, because this episode is dedicated to you, and I know how comfortable you are with all this shit. So, they would call and text. You have to connect me to Chris. I love her. They're like, we love you too. But Chris, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, should I take this to? And I'm like, yes, that is my
Yeah.
sister. She is
Yeah.
fan friggin' tastic. And so I want to know, why do you think, like, you still, and we all know the people that still sort of have that little bit of a pushback, or they're not celebrating you. We sort of touched on this earlier in the conversation. They're not maybe celebrating you as you would them, or
Yeah.
maybe they're not celebrating you at all.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
To be
There's
honest,
so much.
I've decided, yeah. So here's the thing. I've decided to not give any energy to it whatsoever.
Mm,
Is that if you don't want to celebrate me, that's okay. If you don't think what I accomplish or what I do or what is valuable or important or sought after, that's okay. That's okay. And there's going to be those people. There's going to be those
Always.
individuals that are like, what you do is no big deal, or what you do is not valuable, or what what you're passionate about doesn't matter. That's cool. And that's fine. But the people I surround myself, not only do they, cheer me on, give me encouragement, support me, but they get the same sense of joy that I get. It's funny, just at the awards, I had Liat Horowitz there, and she and I had the same conversation. She said, there's nothing that gives me more joy than when I can look around a room at any event that I'm at and say, oh my God, like I connected that person with that person, and I introduced that person to that person. And yes, I'll introduce you to this person. And I said, that's my thing. Like when I can walk in somewhere and think, oh my God, look around the room about all these amazing people who are connected either through me, or I've been connected to them from some of my connections, or it's amazing to me. And it just brings me joy.
And that's your jam. And, one of the many things, people always gravitate towards you. You're charismatic and, but to sort of flip it for one more second here, the fact that people, and we talked about this when you sort of led into what we were chatting about, that people's brains automatically go to the negative, right? It's,
Yeah.
I think, humans, we're animals and we are, we're survivors and whatever. And so it's sort of like the glass is half empty. And so you're saying flip the narrative, flip the script, and say, look who's here for
Yeah.
me today. So that is the way, and that's your strategy. And I think that's great. And so for whoever is listening, I think that is, worth its weight in gold. My son told me something once very important. And he's the YouTuber guy, right? And he said, Mom, haters are my motivators, or some silly bugger
Yeah.
nonsense he said. And I said, okay. I'm like, cool. Like, what am I going to say? Like, oh my God, that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, people will tell me like crazy nonsense. He goes, it bothered me in the beginning. And I said, okay. And so, like, now I'm learning from him. And I'm like, yeah, he goes, yes. I was having a really shitty day and I went online. And again, he's got millions of followers and he doesn't, whatever, comments and stuff. And he goes, somebody told me, you're so quiet. Why don't you go kill yourself? And I
Oh,
went, I think I sucked all the air out of the room. And he's like, I'm like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, because that's the reaction I would get. And I'm like, that is terrible. How did you deal with it? And he said, I went like this. I went like this. And I realized that when you get to us, and I'm just going to say this because this is actually for you. When you get to a certain level, and I'm not saying you're here or who's like, I'm
yeah.
not saying
Yeah.
that. When you get to a certain level, you will have people that are just not going to cheer you on and just not be that happy for you. And so
Yeah.
what I feel is that is just something you have to accept. And I think you're saying the same thing. You're like,
Yeah.
when I was starting out, it was one thing, and then as I continued and grew, there's just some people that are just not going to be in that front row cheering you on. And you can
Absolutely.
accept it, or you can just stay mediocre and be okay with that, but you're not that girl.
No, I just move forward. I think that too often, and I think this is a little bit of human nature, is we try and read into things like, oh, are they not supporting me because what I do is not enough? Am I not good enough? Am I not high enough level? Do I not have the right title? Do they not like me? Do I not, whatever it is, like we dig for that. It's me. I'm not enough.
Mm.
It's not. It's not. They're not going to like you. That's okay. Or it could be that they feel completely neutral, that that thing doesn't matter to them. That's okay. It doesn't have to matter to them. It matters to me. So I just surround yourself with the people that it also matters to.
Yes, 100%. And you say something so valuable when you say surround yourself with those people that matter to you. I really want to bring attention to the fact that it's never one-sided. You and I we
Yeah.
talk about this all the
Yes.
time. And
Yes.
I have a lot of people, you have a lot of people, Chris, can you sponsor this? Can you do this? Can you
Yep.
do that? Can you do that? And a lot of times it's a great idea, sometimes not so much, sometimes whatever. But even our relationship, and you're always, what can I do for you? And I'm, what can I do for you, to all of your people, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's about partnership, sponsorship, featuring you in this and that. It's not about that, but it's with the intent to serve and help others. If
Yeah.
people lead with that, and I say this all the time, 100% with 100% certainty and success, 100% of successful relationships are built on putting in the time, putting in the effort, and it's a mutual thing. It can't be one-sided. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought, this is my front row sister, and don't name names or whatever, and then you realized they're not your front row sister?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
And was
absolutely. I
that when
spent a
you got
spent
to,
a lot of years there actually.
yeah, and how'd you deal with that?
Um, that was actually, it goes back to, like Jeff was saying, that was back in the day when I didn't have my voice. And so yeah, I spent a lot of time with very close individual close. I mean, I don't know that that was real, but what felt like very close front row sisters for a long time that actually weren't. Um,
That's
and
a
I think
hard one.
that had and I think that had to do a lot with not having my voice, not feeling like I knew who I was. So I wasn't, do I believe in that strongly? Should I say something? Like, if you don't know you and you don't know yourself and you're unsure of, like, maybe I'm wrong, so I shouldn't say anything. Like, maybe I'm the one that's not smart enough to get this, or maybe I should have done it differently. So I think that's why that confidence is so important, because in order to stand up for yourself, you have to know what you're standing up for. And if you don't know yourself, you don't know what you're standing up for. And so I think that first you have to discover, like, who am I? What am I passionate about? What are my lines? Where are my boundaries? What are my expectations? How do you get in my circle? Because if you don't know that, how can you say nope? Like, how can you say, like, nope, you're not for me, if you don't know what that looks like? And so for a long time I didn't know what that looked like. And as soon as I did, it was very clear. And now I have very clear lines
Yeah.
of, this is what it looks like. And I'll give, like you said, I will give 200% more than I'll ever expect.
Yes.
But I do have high expectations, because I will give and give and
Yes.
give.
Yes. 100%. And so when you just like discovered that, okay, this is not a two-way street, and we've
Yeah.
all been there, and I've
Yeah.
had to end very, like you said, relationships that I thought they were my sister, legitimately. And
Yeah.
and it's a tough one, because I'm
Yeah.
sure you spent sleepless nights, and
Yep.
probably did definitely cried your eyelashes off. Is when you come to that realization, you cry for what I felt, for what I thought was real, and then
Mm.
there's this big sense of relief that I no longer have to carry this, because you always knew in your gut there was
Yeah.
something, but you didn't quite know. So was it something that was very freeing for you? Because it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you go through a mourning period of what you thought was there. Like, you mourn the idea of whatever that relationship was in your head. And then when you realize that, like, wait, it wasn't really like that most of the time. And then when you come to that realization and you really take some time to think, well, here's what it was really like. And you're like, oh, I no longer have to do this. I no longer have to pretend. I no longer have to walk on eggshells. I no longer have to be disappointed, or be left out, or whatever it is that happened. You're like, wait a second. This feels better. This
Yeah.
feels better. And it gives you the space for the people who were meant to be there. Because I think, at least personally, I spent a long time giving so much energy and space to individuals who weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And I didn't have space or energy for better individuals who were my front row people. And now I do. Now I have that space for people who are uplifting and supporting and encouraging and have my back and think I'm doing good things and just bring joy to my life, and I didn't have the space earlier.
And do you think that comes with, I'm not going to say age, but it is age and experience for me. And I still work on it because we're natural givers. We're naturally like that. So I still have to sometimes step back and reevaluate. And, and if you hear somebody snoring, it is not Matt. It's my friend. That's like snoring. She's right at my feet. I'm kind of kicking her, going, be quiet. No, I'm kidding.
I
She's
love it.
sleeping on my foot. But you kind of have to pull back sometimes and say, like, I still have to evaluate. I still
Yeah.
evaluate
Yeah.
because our time is our most precious,
Yeah, absolutely.
valuable asset. And it's like, if we're spending 5 minutes a week together or 5 hours a week together, is it valuable time, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like you've let me into your circle. Obviously, we've
Yeah.
got some similarities, and Heather from Dottie is a perfect example where, she can't give enough, and
Yeah.
sometimes we're like, okay, you got to stop. You got
Yeah.
to,
No, she's
we're,
amazing.
we're here to lift you too. And so it's finding the right, like you said it's key, finding the space in your life to let those right people in. And if it's, oh, I have no time, because I was always like, how can I have new friends? I can barely, do with the ones that I have. Well, there was one that was like sucking up hours out of years, months, whatever of my
Yeah.
life. And it's like, as soon as I let that go, everything changed for me. I
Yeah.
mean, it was sad. I still to this day, it was a
Of
very,
course.
very, very long friendship.
Yeah.
But I realized when somebody asked me the question, because I was upset about it a lot, and they said, so what has she done for you lately? And my response is, oh my God, well, we grew up since we were three. So, well, there's that. And they're like, okay, we're not going to discount that. But what has she done for you lately?
Yeah.
Waiting for Paula Abdul to like come out.
Yeah.
Was, is it her? What have you done for me lately? One of those. But anyway, yeah, I'm not a good singer. I think I am, but I'm not. And I could not come up with the answer. And so I challenge people, if you're questioning it, get a piece of paper. I don't care what it looks like. And just write down what you do. Like there, hours of, consoling of this, of that. And I'm not saying to keep score, but if you're really questioning it, try to write down like what you do for them at the very least. And if you've got pages of stuff, then I'm thinking we need to scale back. Right? And
Well, and for me, what when you're doing that, when you're doing this inventory, for me, is instantly right away when you think of someone, how does it make you feel?
mm,
Instantly. Not let me think about it, not how long have you known them, not is your brother and sister and mom and aunt and uncle friends with them, not no. When I say, Adrianne, how do you feel when someone says to me, "Do you know Adrianne?" I'm like, "Oh my god, I love Adrianne." That's how you should feel.
yeah.
That's the people that you want in your life. You don't if someone says like, "Oh, do you know Adrianne?" and you go, "Yeah."
Yeah.
That's that's not that then why are you giving
I
them
like
so much space?
I like your gauge way better than my take an inventory. But it's, yeah, like how do you
And I
instantly
think the
feel?
inventory is important too for time. Like how much time and energy are you putting? I think it's important. But it's real easy right from the beginning. If you respond to anyone's name with
That's your light force being
then
sucked out of your
yeah, then the amount of time and energy you're giving that to that relationship better be close to zero.
better be close.
Right? Like cuz you're not getting anything from it. You're not gaining energy from it, that's for sure.
But the way you say it's so smart because we all have those people where it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, not that we're ever mean and gossipy, because
No.
I've never heard a negative thing come out of your mouth, and hopefully you haven't heard anything come out of
No.
my mouth.
No.
But it is just the reality of human nature. And like, to your point, maybe that person isn't for you, isn't for
That's
me,
right.
isn't whatever. Um, and like always say, you'll find them an expert that it is for them and can help
Yes.
them. But when you take that, and again, I'm going sort of outside the professional realm as well, personally too.
Yeah,
If you're sucking, the air out of the room when you say their name, Dr. Chris says, no
I'm
show go,
telling you. I'm
right?
telling you. Yeah.
I love it.
Imagine that's just hearing their name.
Yeah.
Imagine what your energy levels are like after spending a few hours with them or being on the phone with them for an hour or going to a dinner, or if already just saying their name just sort of deflates you.
Yeah.
Imagine how much of your energy is sucked into that force. And like you said, it's not about, oh, I'm going to talk badly about that person, or I'm going to, no, it's just, no, it's being self aware. Like, how do you react to the people around you? How are you going to fill your cup?
Yeah.
And you don't have to be mean, and it doesn't have to be a fight, and it doesn't have to be a big blowout. It just has to be, I need to rearrange my priorities.
Key what you just said, because I still actually, and I haven't talked to her in, oh my goodness, I'm going to say almost 10 years. I still love this friend as a person because of our history.
Yeah,
It wasn't a fight, it wasn't a whatever. But to your point, I was like starting to feel resentful because this was not on even on her. I
yeah,
was choosing to spend time consoling her or fixing her problems as opposed to, spending time with my kids or my husband or whatever.
yeah.
I had to come to that
You
realization.
had to make the change. Yeah,
I had to make the change. It
yeah,
wasn't about the other person. And I think
yeah,
too often we wait for that person to change.
yeah,
And you can only control what you can control.
yeah,
They always say, and I love the saying, and I don't know who I'm quoting right at this exact moment, but it was something like 99% or 1% is what happens to you. 99% is how you react. So you
yeah,
have control of 99% of everything in your life. That shitty things happen, like life is painful. There's going to
yeah,
be upset, there's going to be trauma, there's going to be whatever times, but how do you react to that, right? And
yeah,
so I take full responsibility for that relationship, which why I needed to
yeah.
kind of cut the cord and walk away. But it's not easy. And if you are lucky, I saw this Oprah and Gail. Oprah was actually talking about Gail, and she basically said, if you have, she didn't call them front row sisters, but it was something like a girl pack or sister. If you have a handful, you are blessed. And I think both of us can say we for
Yeah,
sure have a handful
absolutely.
plus tax.
Yeah,
And, these are your ride and dies. So for
yeah,
all of our ride and dies, we love you,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I
Couldn't do
love
life
that.
without him.
Absolutely. And you know what? Everybody needs a Jeff. We are so getting to,
Yeah.
and we have to talk to, I don't even have his information. You have to talk to Jeff. Let's try to get him on next episode in the next week or two, because
Oh
this
my God. Yeah. I'll ask him.
perfect. Well, I did talk to him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll come on. Sure, you guys always seem like you're having fun." I'm like, "That's what it is. It's a whole bunch of nonsense, but meaningful
Yeah.
conversations." And he's like, "I'm in." Great guy. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking we're gonna have Jeff on soon.
Amazing. Amazing. I think
Love
that
you,
would be wonderful. He's got nothing but expertise to share.
love you, and the whole thing about being a mentor, and then we get some more dirt on Chris. I still when he was like. She didn't talk. And I'm like, Chris, you didn't talk. You're like, I'm like, where's
I
Chris?
know.
What have you done with
Strange.
her?
Strange.
But in that professional setting, love
Yeah.
you to pieces, sister. Like I said, we could go on
Strange.
for hours, but then
I
the
know.
sun is gonna set and your chillins will be like, where's my mommy and where's my food?
I know. I know. It always amazes me how long we can talk for, and it feels like it's been 5 minutes.
I
I
know.
feel like we could continue for days.
Well, we will, and we shall see you soon.
Can't
Love you,
wait.
sister.
Love big.